guys, Adrian here from Luxurytime Watches. Sorry I've been a bit backed up with a Q&A that you guys been sending me, so I just took a few of the questions that you've sent me on Instagram, and here's just a quick answers to all of your questions that you had. So the first question that came up was someone asked me, how is the current watch market in South Africa, and is the prices also dropping like it is dropping internationally? And the short answer is yes, the prices are coming down a little. It is softer than it was in January, but it's not crashing. So if people say the watch market is crashing, it's definitely not like cryptocurrencies that we just see basically getting wiped, and some of the coins I even seen has dropped up to 90%. So this is definitely not happening in the watch market. The only models that are actually losing value at the moment is some of the hyped ones like the Daytonas. I mean, even I predicted the Daytona steel ceramic to hit R1 million by the end of the year. Maybe it can still happen. We don't know what's going to happen if China opens again, which is a big player in the watch market where a lot of the dealers are buying stock from around the world. That's quite a big factor that why the market is slow at the moment, because China is under a lockdown. So they're not buying watches, they're not trading watches, so that's having a big ripple effect on the rest of the market. So I think when they open again, it should pick up a bit, but the prices are definitely not tanking. I can just give you an examples like the Rolex Batmans, which we've sold a lot of. Those watches were selling at 400 to 420,000, and they've now dropped to 370 to 390,000, which is it's around about a 10% loss, or not even 10%, which is not that much considering these watches are still trading at way above retail prices. So has the prices dropped? Yes. Have they dropped compared to retail prices? No, not at all. So I would definitely not panic if I was you guys. I wouldn't be selling my watches. It's actually a good time to buy at the moment, I think. I think that the prices are still going to come down a little bit more, looking at the US market and what's currently happening within the whole world's economy at the moment, which is everything is going down. All the shares, stocks, bonds, everything is taking a knock at the moment. Next question is, someone asked me, does all of the new watch dealers that are in the market affect my business? The answer is yes and no. There's a lot of new guys that come in and they do take business away, but as I've always said, I think in this industry, or probably with any business industry, competition I always see is good. Like if someone new comes up, it just drives us more, the whole company, to be better, stay ahead of the game, which I can always see. Always if we apply certain stuff in our business, I can immediately see when our competitors are copying it or giving it a try, doing the same that we are doing, which is a good thing for us because I see us as a market leader in the pre-owned luxury watch market in South Africa. I mean, it's awesome to have so many new guys that are getting into the industry. It just shows you there's a lot of interest, and it means our whole market is growing. So in short, it doesn't affect the business. I think it's a good thing. We probably lose one or two good watches to those guys that can pay a little bit more, but that's just the nature of the business. Okay, this question I've been asked quite a lot is, you guys ask me, why don't you open a retail store? I don't think a lot of you guys know, we did have a proper retail store about 5 years ago. It was a big shop in a shopping mall. It was like any of the luxury watch boutiques. We got robbed, all the watches got stolen. I'll make another video on that. But to answer the question of why we don't open a retail store, it's purely for security reasons, I'd say. Some of you guys asked me, why don't we offer the experience where you come in and you buy a watch and you drink champagne or whiskey or whatever. And I think that those days are over. So the whole shopping experience of a luxury watch, I suppose it would be nice, but as we all know, everything comes down to price. So you're not going to go buy a watch at X store because you get a free glass of champagne when you buy the watch, if you can buy it for 10, 20, 30% less at another store where you can just walk in, buy it and go out and just having a cup of water. So I think that whole experience thing that you guys want in a boutique kind of watch environment is going away. I might be wrong. Some guys still like it. They want that champagne when they walk in. They want the white glove treatment, which I think is very old school still, but some of the guys still need it. But that's not something we do. We offer you a good experience. You can come in, you can have a look at the watches, you can drink beer, coffee, wine, whatever you want if you really want that. But it's not the whole pearly gates kind of treatment when you come in to get the watch. Next one is, if I had 300,000 Rand, what watch would I buy as an investment? I'd also say go for Rolex Steel Sports model, probably the Rolex Submariner, the new one, the 126610LN that you can still pick up for under 300,000 Rand. That's a pretty good investment still in my opinion, as it's probably one of the most popular Rolex watches. If I had 300,000, I would probably buy myself 3 16610 Rolex Submariners, which is the older models, and then sell them for more to make a profit. That is if you are trading watches. But if you are purely investing and you want to buy one watch, I'd say go for the Rolex Sub or a black ceramic bezel GMT. I don't think you can go wrong there. What is my favorite watch brand? It often changes, but I'm still with Rolex all the way. The vintage Rolex models, I really still like them. They fascinate me. And hopefully, I haven't told you guys, or I have showed you a bit on Instagram, the project that I'm busy with, which is actually I'm creating my own high-end Swiss watch brand. We've been in the making for over a year now, designing the watch, getting all the aspects, lining up suppliers, which is quite a big thing for me. And there I think I have created my dream watch, which will probably reveal sometime this year when it's out, and I have a prototype in hand to show you guys. But what's my favorite brand? Rolex. My favorite watch, I've designed and created my dream watch, which should be ready in about 2 months time to show you a prototype. Okay, the next one is, someone asked me if you had to give business advice or one tip to run a successful business. I would say it was probably one lesson I learned really early in my watch career or business career was don't chase a quick buck. I mean, it's easy to make quick money and it's not sustainable. When I just, like example I always give to guys, when I just started, I got an order from a company for, I think it was 20 watches at the time. They were going to give it away as in a prize or a competition. I had my supplier I always got the watches from. I went to them, I placed the order with a guy, which was 20 watches. 15 years ago was a lot of watches to order at one time, even for my supplier, for them to get the stock for me. They got the watches, and in the meantime I've met another watch store that was also selling watches, and they could supply me the watches. I think it was probably 500 Rand less on each watch. So then I had this big order. I had another supplier that could supply me the watches at around about 500 Rand less a watch, which probably made about 10,000 Rand difference on the bigger scheme of things. So what I did, I told my supplier I was working with probably 3 years already at the time, and they were looking after me really well. I just told them I got the order cancelled and I ordered the watches from the other guy. And that was purely because I wanted to make a quick buck, or wanted to make a little bit of extra money. My supplier originally he specially ordered the watches for me then, and when he got them and I cancelled the order on him, he was stuck with the watches. And it was quite a big company at the time, and they're now even 10 times bigger. And that guy just purely said he's no longer going to do business with us because he doesn't work like that, which I fully understand. I'm also in that situation now when stuff like that happens to us. So there I lost probably our best supplier that we ever had for watches, and Still today, they won't deal with us just because I wanted to make a quick buck back then. So in short, the advice is don't chase a quick buck. Try and build long-lasting relationships with your suppliers, with dealers, even with your clients. Be honest, be open to them, and over time you will just see everything will snowball and you'll build up a very good reputation. Where do we get all our new Rolex watches from? And the answer to that is from you guys. A lot of you guys go on the waiting list at the stores and you get the watches and you bring them to us and sell them at a profit, which is happening not just in South Africa, it is very common practice all around the world. I've actually personally recently experienced it with a Rolex authorized dealer, where I've walked into the dealership. Remember guys, this is like a Rolex AD. They've got the license to sell Rolex. It is a flagship store. I walked into the store, I bought a few watches from them. I spoke to one of the sales guys there and he probably picked up I was a dealer. I told him yes, I'm a dealer. Normally those guys don't like dealers, but in this case the guy actually liked me, and he asked me what would I pay, or what would I pay on the grey market for Rolex Daytona, subs, GMTs, and all the sports models. I gave him my prices, and lo and behold, he went to the back, brought the watches out, and I bought sports model Rolex watches inside of an AD that had no stock on display, and I paid grey market prices. The watches I paid more than some of the watches, nearly 3 times the retail prices. And that's just to show you what's happening within the watch market. I mean, I would also, if I was an AD, I would probably also have done the same. Why will you sell a sports model watch like a Rolex Daytona for 280 or 250,000 Rand if you can sell that watch for 600,000 Rand immediately? It's basically like if someone comes in, you give them the watch for free and you give them a bag of cash for free. So that's just my experience I've had, and I think it's happening all over the world often. Okay, I want to work for Luxurytime. How do I go about it? Whenever we have vacancies or an opportunity open, we will post it on Instagram, or we first advertise it internally with our current staff, and then we would post it on Instagram or Facebook, and then you would come in for interviews, and we'll see if you fit within the company and if you would be able to do. But at the moment we've got no vacancies, so I get a lot of questions for that, guys that want to work for us. I promise you we're going to post it if there is job opportunities. How many times do people try and scam us with fake watches? We probably get offered between 2 and 5 fake watches every single day, and I don't think the people are really trying to scam us. Maybe 1 or 2 of that is legitimate, where guys know their watches are fake and they want to try and scam us, but most of the times it's really people that don't know their watches are fake. They either got it as gifts. We get a lot of people that just send us the watches and they say they got them as gifts, what would we pay? And then when we tell them their watches is fake, big argument arises, they're not happy. So I took some advice from one of you guys on Instagram. You told me if we get offered fake watches, to prevent the back and forth, because 99% of the fakes, they don't have box and papers, we simply say if the watch don't have box and papers, we're not interested to buy it. So that avoids the whole argument of telling a client his watch is fake and then going back and forth why it's fake. What happens if I lose the papers and the box of my watch? Is it then considered a fake? No, it's definitely not considered a fake. Your watch will become a little bit less, the value of the watch will drop a little bit less, but it definitely does not make your watch fake. There's a lot of watches that people have where they've lost the box and papers over the years. It's very easy to authenticate a watch if you know what to look at, so don't stress too much about losing your box and your papers. As I say, it will only affect the price that you're going to get for it, and in some cases it's really little. It's probably around about 10% on an average. Last question here, which I also get very often, is how do I start in the watch industry? My only tips is, if you start, is be honest, deal with reputable people that you know. When you actually have watches, this is also something I did in the beginning. If you have watches, you would take photos of the watches in certain lighting where you would over sell the watch. Tell the guys it's in much better condition than it actually is. When you take photos, we all know, all of you new dealers in the market knows, when you photograph a watch, you can just change the angle of how you take the photos and you can't see scratches on it. So then you take photos like that, you send them around, and when the guys actually get the watches, it's not at all in the condition you promised. So tips to start is honest people that you meet up with. Be honest with the products that you are selling. Don't oversell them, rather under-promise the clients, so then when they get the watches, they are in better condition than you actually told them. And also know your products, know what you're selling, know the watches, know the movements, know the series of watches, know the cases. The more you educate yourself, the easier it will make selling the watches for you. You'll be able to easily answer a lot of questions that you get, and just read a lot. Every single day I sit on the internet reading stuff about watches, or you just educate yourself, and that's something you can't quickly learn. It takes time. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.